Well, from brawling in a schoolyard to taking on the SEC, my next guest has always been a fighter. He's fought for survival for himself, and now he fights for survival of others, and he writes about it in his new memoir, Food Stamp Warrior. Joining me now, CryptoLaw founder John Deaton. John, first and foremost, congratulations on the book. You know, so on the back, it's interesting because from brass knuckle beatdowns on the schoolyard to showdowns with the SEC, and I don't know if we can zoom in, but you're wearing a pair of gold brass knuckles. I mean, what is the deal with these brass knuckles? Is that just sort of a reflection of you and your life and who you are?
Well, two reasons. One is that when you read the book, you realize that growing up where I did in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in the country, no matter what size of population, and being bullied for a long time, I finally overcame that by adopting a pair of brass knuckles and defending myself for the first time. And after that, it just became symbolic. And then, of course, the book is published on brass knuckle books.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in the inner city of Detroit, a place called Highland Park, Michigan. It's a subsection of Detroit.
I thought all Detroit was inner city. No pun intended either. I mean, it's a rough spot. To your point, it's a rough place to grow up. It's a rough place to come out of. So here you are. You go on to become a Marine, an attorney, a millionaire, and you represent so many people out there who are not represented.
Right.
Is all that part, do you feel a calling to do that?
Absolutely, because I'm the ultimate underdog, so I'm always compelled to fight for the underdog because that's who I am. I'm the first one to graduate high school. I come from generational poverty, not just poverty, Charles. And some people say they grow up poor, but there's poor and then there's true poverty.
When you say generational poverty, to me that also suggests it's not just not having money or resources, but a mentality.
You're 100% right, and that's what people fail to understand. And I talk about it in the book, Charles. What poverty does to the mind and the human spirit. I had a conversation. All my siblings dropped out of high school. I dropped out for the first 3 months. I'm looking for a private school that I can work off the tuition. And my mother catches me crying, and she's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "Well, I want to go to high school." She goes, "Well, just join the military when you're 17 like your brother did." And I said, "I want to go to college." And she said, and God bless her, she's the strongest woman I ever met. She said, "Well, that's just not for people like us, John."
Right.
You know, and that's what it does. That's what poverty does to people. It handcuffs their mind, their spirit, and everything.
It's tough when the people around you, not nefariously, tell you you can't make it, you can't be something, only because they've never seen it happen before. So how did you make it happen without giving away everything in a book?
Well, I know it's not politically correct, but it is that hatred of poverty and the listening.
What's wrong with that?
Well, listening to...
I love it.
Yeah, you would, and that's why, by the way, you're the first person that I publicly talked and interviewed about the book, and I couldn't think of anyone better to do that. So thank you for having me. But it's like my mother said about not going to college. And listening to her cry at night because we went to bed hungry is something that will motivate you. And I wanted to make sure that I could give my children a life that I never had.
Before I wrap up this, so it's one thing to have the accolades. You went through, you became a Marine, you became an attorney, you became relatively wealthy. But how did you shed, or have you completely shed, the welfare mentality that can haunt you no matter how much money you have? And how can you make sure you don't pass it on to future generations?
You do it, first of all, by recognizing that you're not going to allow that. You're not going to be, a mentality you have to adopt, Charles, that you're not going to let your destiny be dictated by your birth or the circumstances surrounding how you were raised.
Right.
Once you acknowledge that and you have a never quit, no fear attitude, no matter the odds, you can overcome.
The book is Food Stamp Warrior, John Deaton. Great stuff.
Thank you, Charles.
All right. We'll be right back, folks.